Life's Snags and How to Meet Them by Lord Baden-Powell. Bit 6. Watch your habits. Habit begins as a cobweb and ends as a cable. Our maid, Matilda, has gone. She had contracted a habit. I loved to hear people singing at their work, but the line had to be drawn when it came to abide with me, day after day and hour after hour, with the knowledge of the words limited to change and decay in all around I see, change and decay in all around I see, change and decay, etc. But as she couldn't change her habit, she didn't abide with us. A habit, though seemingly harmless, may be fatal to the possessor. I knew a real good-hearted fellow who for fun used to puff and blow when talking. It became a habit, and he is now as obnoxious to his neighbour as the man who has the habit of loudly sucking in his soup. I have a sketch by me which I drew in a tramcar in Belfast of a sweet, clean little blue-eyed maiden sitting with all incongruity below a notice about expectoration. The antithesis gave one to think that human beings can be delightful or they can be beastly according to their habits. So it is of big importance in life to watch one's habits. Habit is often a matter of fashion, adopted without reason beyond that it is custom. God has given us 2 hands, yet I suppose 9 out of 10 people cannot clean their teeth or write a note with their left hand. They can only use the one owing to habit. We don't use half the talents that we possess, being slaves of habit. Habits grow on us. It is their effects that count, the effects on the owner, the effects on his neighbours. Thus, the habit of eating more than is necessary for sustenance is a prevalent one. It only affects the eater himself, makes him obese, and gives him fatty degeneration of the heart, and he passes on. On the other hand, the habit of smoking is equally comforting to the owner, but often it makes him a nuisance to others and sometimes a cad. Oh yes, he is the last to suspect it, yet every day you may see a man filling a non-smoking carriage with fumes that are going to hang about that carriage to sicken women and travellers after him. Talking of smoking and unwitting offence, I remember a woman asking a man if he was old-fashioned enough to object to women having the habit of smoking. "Oh no," he replied, "not at all. But I do hate the smell of stale tobacco that hangs about afterwards in their hair, their clothes, and their breath." When next I met her, she had given up smoking. After all, like most others, she had originally only taken to the habit out of bravado and show-off. The very young man gains great merit for cleverness in his own estimation when he finds that he can be cynical. If nobody smacks him, this grows into a habit, and he becomes that hateful thing, a cynic, and that dangerous thing, a pessimist. There is an old-fashioned toast. Old-fashioned not because it used to be drunk in bygone days, but because its meaning is getting out of date today. Horses, wine, and women. Under the heading of horses naturally comes the habit of betting on them, and thence on betting on any kind of competition. 200 millions of pounds are estimated to be the annual turnover as the result of this habit in Great Britain. One man I knew never could acquire the habit because he never got over the first barrier. That is the objection of taking money from another, not for work done, but for getting the better of him, either by luck or astuteness. There were other barriers beside this, also to be got over, such as the consciousness of greed and waste of time and talents. But consciousness, like conscience, is dulled by habit. Wine. Nice stuff. I like it just as much as you do, but once begun, watch it that it doesn't lead to the second and the third glass, and then to the habit which, without fail, brings misery and ruin. Women. The biggest blessing given to man in this world. Yet, my goodness, what wrecks, what havoc of human lives have been wrought in this world through mishandling of the right relationship. The habit of philandering, playing with affections lightly entered upon, has sunk men lower and lower into beastliness and tragedy. That was horses, wine, and women. Here's another one. Money. Directly you get a little money, you want to spend it, and you do so. Spending your spare cash becomes a habit. Just when you get to the age of discretion and want to set up a house and settle for life, you find that your money-earning capacity has waned. You wish that you had been thrifty when you could. It is now too late. Horses, wine, women, and money. A bad habit is like a bad tooth. Have it out. But the gap must be filled in, not merely for appearance's sake, but for use. As a people, we are selfish. We are brought up that way. At school, we are encouraged to be top of our class, to win prizes, to gain scholarships in competition and rivalry with others. Thus, we acquire the habit of looking out for what we can get for ourselves. It's time to have that bad tooth out and to substitute for it the habit of seeing what we can give to others.